here today with Russell Beggarly from Virginia. Hi, Russell. How are you today?
Doing very well. How are you, Ricardo?
Great, great. Happy to have you on the show. So, we met in person last year at the Arnold, and you lifted quite well. How have your preparations for the Super Series Stage 2 been going?
Well, first off, thank you. It was really an incredible experience to lift at the Arnold, and it got me a good kind of foundation of where I was at, where I needed to go. Getting some pretty good programming to prep up for stage two. But it's been going very well. I had some health issues and some stuff that made stage one a bit of a challenge for me, but obviously still competed. But stage two, these are some of my more enjoyable lifts. I love anything with a rolling handle, and I really like Saxon, so I'm excited for this one.
Well, yeah, I think you're going to have some PRs by what we've talked about and what your training you've posted. You're going to have some PRs coming in a couple weeks. What venue are you going to be competing at?
So I'm going to be doing Muhammad's in Charlottesville. Yeah.
Okay, cool. How far of a trip is that from where you live in Virginia?
So I'm really lucky in Virginia. I feel like I don't really have to travel very far to go to these competitions. Done quite a few here in Roanoke, where I'm from, and Charlottesville's just like right under like 2 hours. It's not very far at all, so it's
Oh,
pretty
good.
easy. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I've been to Virginia several times. Never been to Roanoke, but I've been to Charlottesville. It's beautiful, and I've been to Fairfax in Northern Virginia. Also beautiful. Really, really pretty. How is the weather this time of year? Is it real humid?
I was just laughing with someone else because one of my friends there travel outside of the country every 5 minutes, and they're in Egypt right now, and they sent me
Oh,
the
wow.
humidity there, and I was like, I'm jealous of you because even though it's like 102 there, I think it probably feels better because it's like 90% humidity here, so walking through a swamp.
Yeah. Growing up in New York and going to college in Philadelphia, I know what the July and August East Coast humidity is like. It's not my favorite climate, that's for sure.
You escaped that now.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm very fortunate where I live in California. The weather is very mild and very nice. Um, so obviously you like rolling handles, you like the Saxon bar. Um, have you tested the events for Orlando for the Mr. Olympia, the World Championships? Have you tried the thinner 2x5 Saxon bar?
I have not yet. I don't have one around me right now, but I have quite the obsession with buying grip implements. So that's the next one on the list for me to get. I've got a wall over here full of Grip Genie and Arm Assassin and Country Crush stuff. So and then all my other parts over here. So it'll be added to the list here pretty quickly.
Yeah, I particularly like that bar. It feels a little different than the 3x4 Saxon bar. And I think some of our competitors, I don't think the same people who win the bigger one are going to win the smaller one necessarily. I think it's going to mix it up quite a bit, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Some people may be better at the wider pinch, and some people may be better at the thinner pinch. Time will tell. But I highly recommended that you practice on that one prior to going to Orlando because it's going to be I think the level it only raises every year. I mean, you can talk about that from what you saw at the Arnold. I mean, we saw some pretty impressive lifts this year.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that's one of the things that I enjoyed the most about the Arnold because kind of what I like to try to do in any of things that I get involved in is find the people that are doing some incredible things that just soak up as much as you can from those people. So it was just like, it was a gathering of all like the greatest grip athletes in the world. So you got to meet a lot of people and see and learn so much. So, and like I said, things change each year and, the implements change. So it's a constant learning process and I'm excited to keep going.
Well, I am too, and I think that's one of the fun things about it is is the people do make it great. We try to organize very high level competitions that are very professional and yet bring all these different but extremely talented people, try to bring them all together and let them sort it out and see how it ends up. But obviously, as you know, friendships are made along the way. And I think those things, you can't put a price tag on those moments for sure.
No, 100%. I think that's the thing that's, been the best surprise of like getting into arm lifting is everybody you meet in the community is incredibly supportive. They're there to help you. They're there to cheer you on. And I've I've not experienced a community like that, that everybody wants the other person to succeed so much. So it's when you, and it's a little bit of a smaller community, but it's growing a lot. But I mean, even just through social media, you have access to so many just monsters of grip that are right there willing to jump in and help you.
Yeah, no, it's for sure great, and social media certainly connects people and closes the borders as far as distance goes. For sure, it's really unique. That's a positive of social media for sure. I mean, there's all kinds of negatives with people getting addicted to the thing and staring at it all the time. But if you take it for the positives, there are a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of them for sure. Um, what do you talk about how you integrate? Because I know you've done some powerlifting meets, deadlift and bench, especially push pull meets. Talk about how the grip and fits into that, and what your priorities are, and what you see moving forward for yourself over the next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I I think that's another piece of just arm lifting and grip training in general is that it has only complemented the other training that I've done. I've never had it hold me back. And as a matter of fact, I was talking to someone just yesterday about deadlifts and in the powerlifting context, and they were saying that they were having trouble with their grip at the top, like they're losing the deadlift at the top. And there's nothing more disheartening than to be strong enough to pull a lot of weight and it slips out of your hands.
Right.
And I've now that I've been training grip, that's never been an issue for me. So it's grip can be a very big focus and you can make that your main thing. You start with that on every workout, you put all your time and energy into it, but it's also really easy just to add in too. So for the people that are doing powerlifting or bodybuilding or strongman or whatever, it's, I mean, 1 or 2 times a week at throwing it in on a pull day or whatever, you can throw it in at the end or even just get some fat grips and put it in with some of your actual training. So it's really easy to fit in. And I think that's another positive, the fact that it's not really like systemically taxing. I mean, if you're some people that can double overhand axle 500 pounds, maybe so, but for most people, it's not their highest amount of weight.
Right.
So you've got a little bit left in the tank. And I think that's good for the people that are trying to add it on from a powerlifting standpoint. But the other positive to that, not to segue off too much, is just with the people that are not into fitness at all. It's very accessible. So it's really easy to bring someone over and get them to try something. If I tell one of my friends I want to teach them how to squat, that's going to take a long time. Like it's
Correct.
very awkward movement. It can be a little bit dangerous. But if I want them to get a try grip implement, it's like, hey, let's see if you can pick this up. And I knock on wood, I haven't had anybody injure themselves, try and grip for the first time. So I think
Yeah.
it's really a good thing for people that are already training as well as getting more people into just physical fitness.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with physical fitness. I mean, you're a nurse, I'm a teacher. We both interact with many people from the public. And it's not a surprise that the average American's fitness has decreased during your and my lifespan, right?
Yeah.
It's it's sad. And the kids at school, a lot of them dread PE because they're simply not in shape enough just to run a couple laps.
Yeah.
And for a 15-year-old kid, if you can't run a couple laps, I think that's Houston, we have a problem, right? I mean,
Yeah.
God forbid, what if they get a package delivered from Amazon and it's too heavy? How do they get it in their house? I can't answer that because I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's I feel like the digital age is limiting what we can do with our bodies for some people because their priorities are elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things competing for their priorities. There's so much that's trying to grab people's attention. So I think from a fitness standpoint, you've got to look at how do we get people engaged and how do we like lower the barrier to entry? Because most people, if you show them a powerlifting meet and somebody squatting 500 pounds, they're going to be like, no, thank you, I don't want to have any part of that because that's way too out of reach. So I think the more barriers we can knock out and the more we can make it engaging and a good time, then you're going to get more people in it, and then they're going to get hooked on it.
Well, that's a great analysis. And I think, the Mr. Olympia this year, the World Championships, we're going to have for men and women a Masters 50 plus division for the first time. And we may even have a 60 plus division if there's enough people involved. And I think that complements what you just said, Russell, because if we build it, they will come. And I think the building is happening quickly, and it makes me feel good that I'm able to help provide these opportunities for so many people. Because I know that my doctors have told me with my health problems that I had 3 years ago, if I wasn't in the shape I was in, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. Yeah. And so for me, I need no other motivation than that to know that my 25 plus years of training beforehand paid me a whole lot of dividends in 2020. Yeah. So, I mean, it's worth staying in shape and staying healthy, even though it's a lot of work. It'll be there for you when you're not ready for it.
100%.
Yeah. So, can you talk about in the Arnold Open, right? We had quite a few competitors. I think we had 35 competitors. And can you talk about how it felt to be up there? And the performances were all very close. Everyone was kind of bunched around each other. Can you tell how you felt about being on the big stage and how that motivates you for next year to be back?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think anytime, you've got something like that, it's a big stage, it's a big crowd, it's a big event, it adds a lot of legitimacy to what you're doing. But I think the other thing for me is it was really incredible to see all the pros go through that weekend. That's the first time I'd ever been to the Arnold, and there was a lot of stuff happening, but I was glued to the arm lifting stage because there were just it was a lot of incredible lifts, that were going on.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So then, when I get to do lift in the open, the bar's been set pretty high. So you're going to give it your all, and got a few PRs while I was there, which was really cool. And just to lift with all those people though, it's there, even just in the open, there was so many incredible lifters there. So, I don't know, it was definitely an incredible experience, and I'm excited to try to go back next year. But it really just kind of hone me in and focus my training more because I know, like I said, I know where my starting point is. I know where all of these competitors are now, and like you said, the bar just goes up from there. So,
correct. Yeah. No, and you know what I thought was cool, and you mentioned it about the community or whatever, and a number of people have mentioned that the arm lifting community is positive and supportive, but many of the pros from Friday and Saturday were in attendance for Sunday's open contest. They came to check it out, which I thought it touched my heart that they were there watching. And even some of the foreign guys, like the Swedes were there, Cam and Callie and Anders, Luke Reynolds was there. And so I felt like, okay, these are some classy people. You've just competed in the pro contest at a very high level. And then you're here watching some were rookies and some were somewhat seasoned competitors, but you're here watching the non-pros. Right on. I felt like that says a lot about their character.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Like I said, I've experienced the same thing just on social media. I follow a lot of those guys. I mean, I'm posting my dinky training videos sometimes, and I'm getting likes from those guys and some comments and stuff. And they're, like I said, it's very supportive community. They want people to succeed, even though that they are performing on an incredible level.
Yeah, well, you're too humble. Your lifts aren't dinky anymore, that's for sure. But yeah, if you could give the audience, the viewers who are watching this, if you give them some thoughts about how they could get started, what would you tell some advice to someone who's watching this and they want to get started? What would you tell them?
Well, I think that, like I said, I've used social media so much as a learning tool. I think there's a lot of really good people in the community. Obviously, go to Armlifting USA. You can see where like there are contests around and go experience those just as a spectator if you want. If you want to go jump in, like I said, I think the barrier to entry is pretty low. I like I said, I have a problem with buying equipment. So like people might look at my grip wall and be like, I can't afford to buy all those things. But to be honest, I was just having this conversation too. Like you look at someone that does a bodybuilding show. Bodybuilding shows are like pretty expensive. It's expensive
Oh
to
yeah.
membership, expensive to get your suit and to pay for the show, all that stuff. Most grip implements are not that expensive. Like they're like pretty cheaper to buy, compared to like a specialty barbell or something like that. So if you're interested, grab yourself a rolling handle from somewhere, or just get a pair of fat. So you can get those for super cheap and throw it on a barbell, start training. So it's really easy to start to get involved. Just don't get addicted like me, and then you've got hundreds of dollars worth of stuff in your garage.
Or you could look at it the opposite way and think you have a whole toolbox at your disposal.
That's what
I've
I
given
tell
the
myself.
same advice about to someone just starting, or they see me in a gym. I'm like, just go on Amazon, buy a pair of fat grips for $30 and start there. You can finish anywhere, but start there.
Yeah,
So, no, wise words for sure, Russell. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. I look forward to seeing you in Orlando in November, and best of luck to you in stage 2.
absolutely. Thank you very much.